Okay,
And
let's move
yeah.
on from there.
Okay.
You were a cultural custodian of the Eggon people some time ago as the president of ECDA. What do you have to say about the preservation of the Eggon arts and artifacts, crafts, and culture generally, particularly with the issue of the Eggon's Palace, which everybody is talking about now, that it's no longer the tradition of Eggon that is being observed there. I don't know if you have something to say about that. You've seen that too.
Yeah, I've read and I've also had the privilege of seeing it myself from the outside, because I've not had the privilege of going into the palace since those inscriptions were put in.
So those things are the Eggon culture? Do
No,
they
they're
represent
not.
anything about Eggon culture? You are a custodian of the culture.
No, they're not.
So
I am a promoter. I was a promoter of Eggon culture,
you are
but
still
not the custodian.
okay.
The custodian, by the Nigerian constitution, is actually the paramount ruler of every ethnic nationality. And it is the responsibility of the paramount ruler of every nationality to take all necessary steps to preserve her artifacts, her way of life, her dances, her language,
Culture in general.
her clothing, her attitude, and above all, the character of a traditional Eggon person.
All right.
Because the stories that I read and I also heard while I was president, the Eggon culture was so rich that the invaders, neither the Hausa, the Arab, or the European invaders were able to defeat Eggon nation in war. And the last effort, I think, was in sometime May of 1914, I think somewhere there, 19 something.
Yes, so
Now,
the culture now,
the culture
relating
of
to the palace.
Yeah. When you talk about culture, you're talking about the totality of the way of life of people.
Yes.
Now, and so all of these things I have listed are all what make the culture. Now, what kind of weapons were our people using to defend themselves? What were they using to cultivate the foods that they were feeding in? How were they relating to other communities? How was it that members of other communities are able to recognize, or how will you, as Eggon sons and daughters, even recognize yourselves when you meet elsewhere?
Mr. President, sir, those things in the palace of Eggon now, are they Eggon culture?
Absolutely not. And there is no how that any properly brought up Eggon son or daughter will say that anything that is represented in the palace now has any correlation to Eggon culture.
So are Eggon people now ceded to other people's culture? If that can be found in the palace of the number one person in the Eggon, or the custodians.
When you are looking to conquer a people, it does not happen overnight. So your question is very simplistic. You have to understand how the process of taking over communities, imposing foreign cultures on others, it takes a long process. The Arab slave trade, the European slave trade, it did not happen in 1 year.
So have they succeeded in taking over the Eggon people?
Well, they have not succeeded yet, because I have heard and discussed with quite a number of our own stakeholders, and they are not sleeping over it. And I think that what you are seeing today happening in the palace, I will not say that Eggon nation is in trouble, but it is God's own way of giving us a rude awakening, because our own elites, our own critical stakeholders have all reneged in their own responsibility for a long while.
So who authorized what happened in the palace to take place?
Yeah, let me say what I want to say now, so that it is not, whatever I'm saying is not taken out of context. For several years now, or for a few years now, not a few, for several years now, those who have had the privilege of going out to read about other cultures, getting exposure, working as successful professionals everywhere, they never bothered coming back home to do what? To sit down in their various communities with the elders or their own brothers and sisters who are at home, to educate them on the need for cultural preservation. And what has happened is that a good number of our own elites or our own stakeholders have given the local Eggon sons and daughters who have not actually traveled outside the local community the impression that everything foreign was better than what our own traditional culture, or
So
what
are we accepting that what is in the palace, which is foreign, as admitted by you, that it is better than our culture?
that is, let me finish what I'm saying, yeah, so that you do not take what I'm saying out of context. Because if we want to fix this present situation, and I'm in no way supporting it, I've stated my position to majority of the critical stakeholders. I did not hide anything.
So how do we come out of it?
How do we come out of it?
Yes.
It's precisely what I'm talking about.
Okay.
That you only want to get the news vibes. But I like building foundations, so that I have so often been taken out of context. Because some people will say, I'm violent, I'm this. No, I'm probably one of the most peaceful persons. It's just that I will go to any length to make sure that the right thing is done.
How do we come out of it?
That is precisely why I started by saying the elites who have traveled outside the shores of Nasarawa state and have seen how the Yoruba culture is kept, how the Igbo culture is kept, how the Igala culture is kept. These guys are Christians, they are Muslims, they are animists, but when you go to their palaces, you don't see anything about their own personal religious beliefs in their palaces.
It's about their culture.
It's about their culture. That is why they call it a traditional institution. You are the chief custodian of everything that is cultural, our cultural norms, our beliefs, our deity, our whatever. You are the custodian.
How do we
by the
come
Nigerian
out of it
constitution?
Now that we
And
have
it is going to take, the solution is, if you just want a cosmetic solution, then you will not want to, you will not want me to,
cosmetic.
Yeah.
There should be measure. We found ourselves in a problem. How do we come out of
we
it?
find ourselves in a problem.
Yes.
And if we want to solve such problems that are enormous, we must look at every holistic effort that must be put in.
For instance,
our own elites, our own stakeholders, who are very religious in their own personal way, must first of all understand that there is a difference between a foreign religion and your own culture. This now takes me to what I was saying to some of our farmers in Kaderko the other
Sorry,
day.
sir, before we go there, who calls the Arengo to order in the structure?
In the structure of Eggon Nation,
yes,
is actually the traditional council.
So, have the traditional council spoken about this matter?
Yes.
What do
Given
they say?
what Hakimi Makanangba, the Hakimi of Wakma, stated.
That is the district head of
the
Wakma.
district head of Wakma.
Exactly.
The paramount ruler himself called a meeting, a joint traditional council meeting.
Right.
That means that the chairman of the local government, which is the only certified government agency to oversee the palace, was there. The chairman and the secretary, I think, were all there. The DPO, security, whatever, all the security agencies, the traditional rulers, they were all there. And the paramount ruler, I was not a member there. I was not there. So what the district head reported back to Eggon Nation was that the paramount ruler himself said that there were Eggon traditional rulers before him, that is his own forefathers, that Aloibi was there. He never brought anything about his pagan worship into the palace. That Auduede was there for 28 years. He did not bring Islam into the palace. Bala Angazo was there for 42 years. He did not bring Christianity into the palace.
But he brought it. The president brought it.
And so, let me speak.
Okay.
And so, that God has made it possible for him to become Waziri Eggon, and of late the paramount ruler of Eggon Nation.
Yes.
He is not going to be seen as being responsible for the division of Eggon Nation.
But he took pictures with it, and it's everywhere.
Religious insignias and stuff like that into the palace. And so
I have
he
pictures,
was
proves that he gallantly sat at the stool with those things.
I have seen.
He is representing.
I have seen.
So he's happy about it.
I have
to identify with it.
I have seen those pictures. I'm just trying to relate for historical purposes what the district head of Wakma represented to us as being the words of the paramount ruler, and whether his words match his own action.
These are two different.
These are two different things.
But the action speaks that he supports what he see, what we see. Okay, let's move on from there, sir.
Let me say this so that history will remember, will know, our own children will know someday that yes, this was the position of the paramount ruler. But then, if
the present paramount ruler,
the present paramount ruler,
the position, as far as we are concerned, and we could see, is that the action is not matching the words.
You are supposed to be asking the
questions. I'm a journalist.
I'm a journalist. You're not supposed to be emotional about it.
I'm not. I'm a journalist. I'm telling you what I have seen.
Yes.
And I'm seeing the actions.
Yes.
These are two different. They are not matching.
I am not here. I'm not. Do not make it seem as if I am defending the rascality going on.
I didn't say so.
I'm not defending the foreign or the Arabic insignias in there. The truth is, I do not like them. I do not want them there.
And it shouldn't be there.
I want Eggon artifacts and our symbols in the palace, so that anybody that comes in there knows that yes, he is in an Eggon environment. Now, it is good that we know what is going on. And it is good that what I started saying gets out, so that those who are supposed to influence such things to protect our own culture
Traditions.
and tradition
Should
do
do.
not continue to renege on their own responsibilities. The fact that the stakeholders, the critical stakeholders, anybody who has excelled as a professional and is willing to give back to the community will come in and contribute to what is going to keep the sanity in his own domain.
Thank you very much, sir. So what is that thing that if you are given an opportunity to become a leader, maybe that thing you live to regret that you didn't do, if you're given another opportunity to do in Igonland, you would like to do?
The things are so many because,
That key thing.
yeah, that key thing is practically putting to fruition those things that hold people together.
For instance.
One, in today's world, family structures, unity of purpose.
Building the Eggon House again.
Of course,
Okay.
building the Eggon House was just a step in the right direction. Uh, the Eggon House on its own was not going to do the job. As Bill Clinton will always say, the life of a people all revolves around the economics. So for any traditional entity to remain relevant to itself and to not go extinct, you must have the capacity to sustain yourself. And what is it that has kept Igbo nation resilient? It is our farm work. It is our education.
It's our unity as well.
It is our unity. But those things that bring us together have been so infiltrated by the foreign culture. When I say foreign culture, I'm not just talking about the clothes. I'm not just talking about the dances. I'm not just talking about insignias, but religion. Now, our own religion that was based on purity, as in the days of old, has been overtaken by Christianity and Islam. And when you look at even traditional institutions everywhere, some will say, no, I'm religious, I don't want to partake in their meetings. That means we have failed. So, how do we now get people involved so that the traditional institution can be protected? There is no way that our own professionals, our own stakeholders who are exposed, who have gone everywhere around the globe and have seen every city that has up to 1,000 people, they have their own museum.
So we should have a museum.
We should have our own.
Thank you very much. Do Igbo as a nation have a master plan? All these years before you're coming and after you're coming, is there any plan?
Well, before I became president, we've had permutations with a number of people, with Dr. Dominic Bako. We've had series of discussions with Solomon Ewuga, with Labaran Maku. I think...
do we have a master plan?
We were not able to put anything on paper because the leadership at that time was not in place. The truth is, since when I came in as ECDA president, we were able to come up with this vision of what you can call the Eggon Reconnaissance. And we did a good job of starting those little efforts that will actually bring us together. with strength. And that is what we actually called the master plan, because all of these things were critically discussed at different levels. We gave the suggestions or the proposals. I think I had about 5, 6 different committees of professionals, like Dr. S.B. Abu, Professor Anzaku, Abiniku, quite a number of them. They all came back with various reports on various segments. And that was how we came up with the master plan of, firstly, having our own regalia. Number 2, we should have a database. And we have an information network where our own sons and daughters, just for the listen, I was privileged to be instrumental to the setting up or starting of ECDA in North America. We were now able to come up with the cooperative society program. Okay. We started discussing it at that time.
Is this thing professionally designed in such a way that you have succession plans? If we have a master plan for the Eggon Nation, well, where we will we have, look, the entire Eggon Nation, this is what we have in the next 20 years, in the next 50 years, in the next 100 years. So every leader that comes on board, whether you're ECDA, you are a women wing, or even the traditionalists too, they will not want to deviate from these plans. If we don't have such, what do you think is right to do to make such things happen?
As it is right now,
yes,
since the succeeding leadership was not able to continue from where I stopped,
yes,
it will take all of the stakeholders
come together,
getting involved.
How do we drive to that stage?
How do we drive to that stage?
Yes.
We're already working on it. The fact that I'm no longer ECDA president does not mean that I've stopped working on this vision of bringing Eggon Nation together. I'm happy to tell you that yes, the cooperative program, that is getting Eggon Nation to begin to work together in groups, learning to work with each other, learning to farm together, learning to do business together.
Tell us about the cooperative.
We now have, as part of the industrial master plan.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. These are plans.
So, but for this to sink well, this aspect of stakeholders getting involved needs to be restated and stated frequently, so that our own critical stakeholders, anybody who has Eggon blood in him and is anywhere around the world, must be contacted and must be convinced that he has to partake in the Eggon project, whether he likes it or not. Since the Tower of Babel, God created us as Eggons. He did not make a mistake.
That's right.
So we must be proud of it. But when you say yes, you are able to feed your own children, you can buy a ticket to London for your own children to go to school, so you don't care what happens here. No, God will not forgive you. See, the tree does not take care of the roots.
It's the roots
that take care of the tree. If you take care of the roots, you have fruits. Now, anybody who is willing to think deep will read between the lines and come to understanding of what this particular adage is all about.
So what last words do you have for the Eggon Nation?
That even though I'm no longer the president, we were able to bring a few like minds, like Kasim Ali, who is the president of Nasarawa Multipurpose Cooperative.
Okay.
Actually, what happened, in my own effort to continue with the vision or the master plan as approved by the late paramount ruler, when Wilberforce came to power, And he accepted that, yes, delegation of power does not mean that he's not working. Because it takes a big heart for somebody who is in a position of authority to delegate such responsibilities to somebody else. Because I got him to understand I was only interested in working for prosperity.
Right.
It's not about me, it's about Eggon Nation. And in whatever capacity Eggon Nation asked me to do any of these things today,
You will do it.
will do it. And how is that going to happen? I told him that Eggon Nation needs to find a way of bringing our good brains together so that we can live exemplary lives for the other locals to emulate. And to also, in this process, using the endowment fund concept to propagate present-day education so that the youths that are coming up are actually mentored and tutored in subject areas that are going to be useful in the future.
Thank you very much. If I allow you, I'm sure we won't be able to leave here. You have so much on you to be able to dish out to the global world. We are grateful. This is an interview that is holding on with our elder statesman, Chris Mamman. And in this episode, we're grateful that you've given us your audience. Thank you and God bless you.
Welcome. Stay blessed and stay focused.
Thank you very much.